Motorboat? You play the motorboat? You motorboating son of a bitch, you old sailor, you.
Following program contains language and subject matter that you may consider unsuitable for children. Parental discretion is advised.
I'm going to pass the reins to Mr. Jackal, the new king of radio.
I think Jackal's Espino, I'm not sure, but he'll give it to you good.
The Jackal.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show here. Big things happening, man. That first hour was bananas with Daryl, and good to see him alive and well. But man, this is going to be a fun hour here on Inside the Jackal's Head Back on PSN Radio and Self-Flow Radio Live with a longtime friend, a person of highly respectable background when it comes to UFOs, ufology. He's been, like I said earlier when I talked about him, he's been around the block many times from documentaries, UFO Hunters. He goes way back in this thing. If you ever have experienced the topic, I'm sure you've run into my guest, Jeff Willis. And, brother, how you been since last time we talked? How's life treating you? You're looking good.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, and I'm doing good, man. I'm doing great now. Everything's turning, turning around, but it's a little, I'm as far as like, all the hard stuff in life, it's starting to get a little easier,
Yeah.
It never gets fully easy, that.
No, it does not, especially since we age a little bit from here to there, and and it's been a number of years, man. I remember watching you long time ago, on TV, UFO Hunters with Bill and all that stuff. And Bill, Mr. Burns, he's a gentleman and a scholar and a friend of many and a great storyteller. But you always stood out on the show, and you were always one of the standouts on a lot of the documentaries I've seen you on. And it's always good to catch up with people that are really like putting stuff out there and are asking the question, what the hell is this? What's going on? And are actually doing work. And, God bless you, man. You've been doing this for a long time. So,
funny thing is, funny thing, I don't know. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people, maybe some people know this, but I was actually the co-creator. Mm-hmm. I actually supplied History Channel with what you call a pilot trailer, which was like an hour long, it was about a 90-minute documentary that I put together with Pat Uskert. Pat Uskert came out to Phoenix, and me and him put together a documentary called UFO Road Trip. And then he put it together, and then he gave it to Bill Burns, and Bill Burns went over to History Channel and pitched it as UFO Road Trip. And they watched it, and it took a couple weeks later. The ball started rolling, and they said, well, we want to call this UFO Hunters. And, of course, Bill, you're on the show, and Pat, the guy that helped me put the documentary together, he's on the show. And they offered me to be on the show, but I lived in Phoenix, and I had a 2-year-old kid at the time, so it just didn't really work out. So they had the scientist and then, that instead. But, they had me on the show a couple times, and, I was a co-creator, and that's always going to be in my resume as that. So, and that's what I was. So, a matter of fact, when you put my name, my name is JEFFWILLES. And if you put that in Google, it'll show up all as that one website that's got all the TV shows and movies. And it's got like some of the shows that I'm on. What is it? IMBD or something? Or
IMDb. Yeah, IMDb.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, I'm on that. Yeah, I'm on that. So.
It's funny. It's funny because, like you said, you were on only a couple of the episodes, but you are, always linked in and tied to that show. But I mean,
I've been on a lot of cable shows. I was on like Weird Travels, X Testers, Factor Faked, bunch of other ones, and countless radio shows. And I was also on a couple of movies actually. The Race to Witch Mountain, my footage is featured on that. And this one and another movie called The Phoenix Incident, which was a motion picture. and of course the Dan Aykroyd Unplugged on DVD. All those movies have my footage on it, so there's 3 movies right there. But the Aykroyd one never hit the theaters, but it's a widely known DVD that's been sold for years. It's got my footage on it. Yeah, but still, Dan Aykroyd. So,
I brought it up earlier, and I'm like, that's I mean, that's cool as hell to be in anything featuring Dan Aykroyd. I mean, that's a legend. Even it's like he's using your footage, he's mentioning your name. I mean, that right there, it's cool enough. But you have been featured in a lot of stuff in ufology. We're in 2024 now, and we're finally having. What me and like Steve Bassett and some other folks have called in the past maybe a slow disclosure movement kind of thing that's been happening over the last few years with the Pentagon coming out with the UAPs and finally admitting some of the footage is real, which we've all known, and they need to look deeper into like footage like from yourself and other people have put a lot of stuff out there. But the fact that they're talking about it alone is mind blowing compared to where we were just 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, the thing of it is now, basically, my organization, my website is UFOsoverPhoenix.com. Very easy to remember, UFOsoverPhoenix.com. You can remember, and so when you go there, there's a link at the top right there within the first couple lines to my YouTube channel, and it'll show all my footage right there. So my organization that I built is like about 20 years old, but it really started back in 1998. That's when it really started. After I shot some footage in 1995, 1996, and 1997, I started accumulating enough footage to put the organization together. And I started the website in like the year 2003, I believe. It came to existence. And so, and plus before that website went live, I had a different website on a GeoCities site, a Yahoo GeoCities site, which was UFOs over Phoenix. And it was like Alien Hunter, UFOs over Phoenix. And it was actually, started in like, that one was started in the year 2000, I believe, 2001. Actually, 2001 is when that started. But I had my own VHS movie called UFOs over Phoenix in 1997, which featured all of the clips that I had accumulated since then, and I was distributing that. So by the time like about 2006 came, I featured 3 DVDs, which featured UFOs over Phoenix Volume 1, 2, and 3. So that's how much footage I accumulated in just like 10 years, like a lot, like a ton of videos. And in ufology, you got like different categories of study. You got many different study categories in ufology. And so my category of study is like the evidence of the actual UFO, which is video evidence, so that's the hard evidence. Like everybody does their talking and blah, 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 this or that and their theories, but I get out there and shoot the damn UFO in the sky. And that's what,
you're an actual Skywatcher and an actual Sky Hunter. That's really,
I go and shoot where the rubber meets the road right there,
Right, your boots on the ground.
Yeah, so I get the best footage that I can get, and then the skeptics and the debunkers and the computer analysts fight it out after I shoot the footage. And it doesn't matter to me because I know what I see and I know what I videotape's real, so they can hash out all they want. I don't even care what they say. It's real, and I shot it, and I know. I don't back up anybody else's footage because wasn't there when they shot it, so I can't say.
No, but I'll tell you this much: I've done sky watching. I have a lot of hours. I did Skywatchers Radio with Arpel and these folks years ago, and I've done many hours sky watching. I know the difference between satellites. Our natural, occurrences in space. Also, what we have as black budget projects that are ours, and another difference of what is not ours and it's just roaming around. And where are they coming from? I can tell the difference, and I've seen a lot of your footage, and you're definitely capturing from what I've seen. And a lot of this goes back, folks, before CGI was ever a big deal. that
Oh yeah, I was
we
shooting
can
video
mess
back
with
in
CGI.
1996 and everything.
Yeah, we couldn't do this back then, cheaply and for no reward. Okay, so don't even
Yeah.
go there, skeptics. But I, being a sound and video producer myself, and having hours of editing, sky watching, I know that you're capturing a mixture of ours and theirs. From what I've seen, a lot of that,
Yeah.
and not a whole lot that I've seen from your footage just on my own, researching you in the past for the last 15, 20 years. A lot of the things I've seen from your footage, not a lot of it is satellites. Very, very,
Yeah,
very
oh yeah.
small
Oh
amount.
yeah. Well, the thing of it
Tiny.
is, and most of my videos are daylight videos, and
Yeah, which is
and when
hard to, like, the originals are hard. Daylight is the toughest to
yeah.
capture genuine UFOs. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, and the thing about daylight videos is we film a lot of like sky debris and trash and
Mhm.
balloons and stuff like that, and you have to separate it all out and get the best of the best. That way
Right.
you try to stay away from anything that could be balloons or anything else. But when it comes down
Yep.
to what you videotape, and it's pretty obvious that if you put something out there that if it's that good, that it's going to be something good. So
Yeah, yeah. Now we're fast tracking to, like I said, to a possible soft disclosure. And we had a thing here in Miami earlier in January this year, where a lot of people were reporting aliens in the mall here in Bayside. It became a big deal where like hundreds of police officers were sent out to investigate this. We've also heard reports that there might be a little bit more of a false flag invasion. And I've been hearing about this since the days of William Cooper in the '90s with Behold the
yeah,
Pale and all this stuff that has been
well,
publicized. What are your thoughts
yeah.
on some of that stuff that
Well,
we're doing now?
my thoughts and opinions on it is they'll know there will never be disclosure, because you got to remember that the Pentagon, they said that whole hearing and all that stuff, they called all those people were liars. So
Yeah,
they're straight up still denying the whole ball of wax. They don't even want nothing to do with it. So as far as
so yeah,
I'm
yeah.
concerned, if they're going to still be like that, they don't even want to have nothing to do with it. We're not anywhere near it.
But what do you think? I mean, that is a fact that they've done that. But what do you think is the mixed message here with them putting out that footage also and saying, "Well, this is real," but these guys are all liars. I mean, how can you
Yeah,
get
the mixed
both,
message
ways?
is that the mixed message to me is that Jaime Maussan and the Mexican government held their own UFO press conference, and they straight up brought out dead alien bodies. So if that's the fact, let's get to the bottom of what those bodies are, and let's get this straightened out. I mean, we don't even need a UFO now. They just rolled out these corpses. Come on, let's get with the program here, people. If they
Yeah.
can't, if that isn't disclosure enough to the world, then what is? Let's figure out what those things were they brought out.
My problem with Jaime Maussan's treatment, not with the footage or the alien bodies, the way that he's treated now is because there's been kind of like misfires in some of the things he's brought out in the past. That now, like, the skeptics are always pointing out, well, this didn't turn out to be true, so this can be true. So
Well, the
even
problem,
when
the problem is that the problem is that people what don't realize, what that everybody should realize, is Jaime Maussan is a media reporter, and what that means is
Correct.
he's going to broadcast and report every single thing that comes out, whether it's BS or real. Okay,
Right.
and
Yeah.
if you can get behind, if you can get behind all that, then you can look at it and with an open mind and say, yeah, he's just going to tell what's he's reporting, and so if it's real, it's real. That's where the scientists and all the other people have to come in, so he's just a media guy, so
That's called Jeff. What's that called? Journalism, which is
yeah, journalism. Yeah, I mean,
it's a
the
lost
problem-
medium in
and
this
the-
country, right?
yeah, and the problem is with UFOs and journalism is when you got these bodies and stuff like that, and you have a UFO press conference that's like something in Mexico that's like big government thing, and they've had these bodies for years, and they've been wanting the scientific treatment on these things to find out whether they're real or not, because no one still knows. That's a perfect opportunity to figure it out, and if they are real, then they must have come here from some type of craft, and maybe it's connected with the UFOs, and maybe it's not. But what we do have is a biological entity that could be non-human. So let's at least figure that out first, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, the thing is, can we trust the outcome of whatever scientists put behind proving this? Because if they want to keep it hidden, they might even lie to Jaime Maussan, and I think I suspect that's happened before to Jaime.
Yeah, I was going to say, I saw a story on the news where they put one of them through an MRI, and the scientist said it was a full bone structure. It wasn't connected together or nothing like that. It was, like someone pieced it together like a hoax. It was like a full skeleton structure inside of it. So I don't know. They need more in the DNA. I don't know what they said anything about it. So they need to get more in depth. Maybe now they've done more studies on it, but there was a couple of them. Wasn't there like 3 of them or something like that?
Yeah, there's been multiple, but he's not the only one.
Each one of them, what the DNA is on every one of them, and how if they're related to each 3 of them, are anywhere related to each other, or what is this?
Yeah. No, but here's the thing. Even the ones that Jaime is presenting, these are not the first time. This is not the first time we've seen, cadaver that look alienish. We of course had Dr. Roger Lear, rest in peace, who pulled out implants from people, and we've had a lot of evidence over the years.
Physical evidence is overwhelming. So I mean, they're here. Obviously, if we can just get the scientists behind it, then we can come forward to do a real press conference and do the same thing because when that guy is it named David Grash or David Grosh, that guy?
I think it's, yes. Yeah,
the guy
I'm great with names. I'm great with names, Jeff.
Yeah, the guy that came out in front of Congress and said that he knows people that have told him that the aliens are real and this and that. Well, see, it's like secondhand information still. So this is the physical evidence we're talking about, like the implants of bodies and stuff. If the scientists can get behind that and confirm that that's real, we don't need secondhand evidence from no guy that said this guy said this to this guy and this guy said this, So, we can get, we can have the proof, the final scientific proof if the scientists can figure out also scientists need to say is we analyze the implants, we analyze the bodies, and we don't know what this is. Like, it doesn't match up on Earth. And once they say that, then we know it's got to be alien. And if they don't have a match and nothing, or they can't figure it out,
My, my theory and thought, which is always kind of like funny that when they do check these things, there's always DNA involved, which tells you how connected we really are to everything in space. Because if DNA is not only on Earth but it's space bound everywhere, I mean, even for those who believe in creation, something is behind that. So don't just throw away the baby with the bathwater just because we believe in UFOs. Doesn't mean that there might not be a higher power for those who are dismissing it because of their religious beliefs or anything of that nature. For my listeners out there, it could still be one and the same, where we still have a creator, and he created the entire heavens, the earth, the universe, and we're now being visited by more of his creation. And whether you believe in the Bible or Jesus or whatever your religious beliefs are, I respect. I'm agnostic, Jeff, but I really respect everybody's belief, and you're entitled to believe whatever you want when it comes to religion. But regardless, I do believe that there's a God, whatever that God being is, and for everybody out there who believes in a God, whatever your denomination is or whatever your religious beliefs are. It's all the same God at the end of the day, and we're still all in this creation that was created by this being, whatever it is. And again, DNA to me is going to be something that's going to play an important role in deciphering the code of God and how we're all the children of God. And I think even the religious folks need to get off that high horse, like we're the only ones. Because that's destructive to ufology, to mankind, keeps dividing us. And I'm both. I'm independent when it comes to my voting and my politics, but also that being agnostic, I accept that there's maybe a creator and there's also evolution, and they all could be, one happy marriage, one happy family, and the creator created everything, and everything evolved as it naturally is. He gave us free will as far as possible, and now we're facing the question of, well, why are we here? Who are we? Who is our
Yeah.
creator? Are we alone? These are the questions that we keep asking ourselves internally. And, we're creating AI, Jeff, and AI is going to ask that question very soon, right?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say was, it's weird because a lot of people think, when you think about like aliens coming here, they think that they're coming from like a far galaxy or far away or whatever. But my belief on it is that if we've been here, for a certain amount of time, then they were probably here, with us the whole time too. Maybe hiding in the oceans or whatever. And not only that, but just think about it. They have, oceans on Europa. Like, we don't even know what's in our own solar system. It could just be coming from a moon, like around the corner from one of these planets in our own solar system, in our own 9 planets, right there, or in our own ocean or whatever. Because we didn't explore. We're barely exploring anything. We can't do anything really.
Jumping right on that, the crazy thing is, Jeff, we know less about the oceans than we do about space.
Yeah. And if you drill down if you drill a hole down into the moon, you might run into an alien base. We don't even know what's going on. So
yeah.
That's how it is.
The whole moon sounded like a bell. Remember that when they struck it with the satellite? That was really. I laughed at that. That was, I found that very funny since when that happened years ago, because that kind of segues to my good friend, rest in peace, Dennis Crenshaw, who was the Hollow Earth Insider on Unraveling the Secrets, which ran for a long time. A great, great guy, and we used to get into it all the time about the Earth can't be hollow, Dennis, and he would be like, "Oh, Jackal, Angel," and we used to talk about it all the time. And we came to a realization that maybe it's not exactly hollow, but there's definitely areas in there after really doing a lot of homework, that there is a very strong possibility both in the moon, on Earth, that not only are we being visited, but they've been here the whole time. And they're if you look back at even some of Dennis's work with the Admiral Byrd situation over Antarctica, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very telling you if you really consider what that story tells us, and we believe it. Well, then that's a great spot for them to hide. The ocean is a great spot for them to hide. The moon is a great spot, and the planets like Mars, Europa. These are areas we don't know what's going on in these places. So you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was about the. And remember what they said about what they know, what about the craft is it was like a 3-tiered. It's something that we don't have, a 3-tiered craft, craft that can fly in the air, it can fly under the ocean, and it can fly in space. So it's one craft that can do all 3. So it can come down from space, fly in our own atmosphere, and then fly under the ocean. So we don't have anything like that.
That we're being told. Wink,
that we're being told. But even just the idea about it, you would think that would have to be alien, because that's pretty advanced. We've come we've come a long way in 100 years, but if we can barely even get back to the moon, or we don't even go back to the moon and land, then that doesn't show much. And these astronauts are stuck in space right now, so that's kind of silly too. So it doesn't really seem like I think they're finally getting back and soon, but it's kind of funny. I don't think we have something that can do the 3 tiers like that: space, air travel, and underwater. The same thing, craft.
I was wondering about the astronauts in space that are stranded there. How much of that do you think could be legit? How much of that could be just for show? Remember, Jeff, NASA, never a straight answer.
Yeah. Right.
A lot of that is just to keep us, in the blue pill section in the Matrix, just in La La Land, believing, believing their lies.
I mean, if anybody, I mean, people that listen to your show are probably pretty smart, but a lot of people are new to the subject, and a lot of people just don't have the information or the database. And so, what I would just remind you, looking back into time, look at all of the times that Richard Hoagland went on Art Bell and spilled all kinds of beans all over the place, and it will just every single one of those interviews will show you how dishonest NASA actually is. So you don't even want to trust them at all. So I don't even know what's going on with these rovers and these people in space. I don't even know if any of it's real, to be honest with you. And we don't. No one should know. I mean, it might sound crazy, but if you ask yourself an honest question, we're just down here on Earth, like doing our daily lives. How do we know what's being piped in as fake or not? How would we know?
We really have no idea. I mean, some of our population.
Especially with the moon landing and everything. I don't know if it was real or not even anymore, No,
and we still have people who think the Earth is flat, and they're still debating that, in 2024. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
God bless them. These folks who think the Earth is flat. Look, it could be flat. I haven't been to space. Have you been to space?
No, I mean, you'd have to go. I mean, we'd have to have Elon Musk help us out and take us up there, and then we could see it with our own eyes, right?
Yeah. But you know who I do trust and who has been to space is an old man, has no reason to lie. Good old Bill Shatner.
Oh, yeah, he saw it.
He saw it for his own eyes, and he said, this is a life-changing moment. Being here, seeing the globe that is the Earth, and really what we take for granted, because when you see it, I'm sure from that angle and from that perspective, it really is a life-changing moment. I mean, you really start to see how little we are here.
Yeah, and when we put a satellite up in orbit, it goes all the way around, so it has to be that way anyways. So.
Yeah. Like I said, they're a funny bunch, the flat earthers, but they're good for a punchline.
Right. Yeah, I don't believe in that, but I mean, it's out there, so I mean, people do, but I don't knock them or nothing like that.
I hear you. What you think now, all these decades later, of like folks, for example, controversial people like Bob Lazar, for example, his story is still very controversial. Area 51 and the stuff they worked on. What do you think of that all these years later?
Well, yeah, I saw his films way back in the 90s with the Area 51, the government Bible, the excerpts, and all that. And all these years later, then he comes out with his story again and all that. And it all seems like a lot of people, for some reason, I don't know why, but they just don't buy it, But for me, it all seems pretty legitimate. I mean, everything he said, really, every interview he's done is pretty much the same thing over and over, Like he never changes his story. It's the same thing. And, and a lot of people stuck up for him. Remember when he first came out, he had George Knapp behind his side. He had Bill Moore. He had Art Bell. He had Linda Howe. He had the whole UFO community stood behind him. They all believed everything he said. And of course, Roger Lear. Not Roger Lear, but John Lear, the guy that helped him break his, he took out to the sites where they showed up and stuff like that to prove his story that they were real. He had the times of when the UFOs would be tested and all that. So it's a legit story to me, and it goes back a long ways all these years later, so it's never been debunked in my opinion.
I used to get into it with another person who's now gone, Stan Friedman, who always tried to say, I don't believe I'm an angel, and I've done my research, and I used to tell Stanton, I used to be like, Stanton, do you not think that if this man, Bob Lazar, is telling the truth, do you not think that the government or whoever was there would not try to destroy his evidence, destroy his past, erase him from
Yeah.
even being researched. And he's like, well, yes. And I'm like, so why is this hard to believe, considering the fact that also people that knew him have come out and said, yeah, he actually did work there, and we can't find information on him, but that's
Yeah.
all easily, taken away by the government. My friend Daryl Neely, who was on with me the first hour, he was a J6 protester, and he was arrested for 2.5 years on misdemeanors. Okay,
Yeah.
he had everything taken away from him and erased from existence. And do you not think that? I mean, that's on something that is political. Now, imagine
Yeah.
something that is UFO related, where it's given secrets of Area 51. Do you not think the government worked extremely hard to erase this guy's history
Oh
without
yeah.
killing him or putting him in prison? Because if they
Yeah.
did that, that's just admitting, yeah, everything he said was real.
Yeah. Exactly. That's why he went on. That's when he went on George Knapp to try to save his life, to try to get on the TV, so people. He even gave, like, I think, a letter that said, if anything happens to me, this and that or something,
Yeah.
if I remember right. He's like, he's got something, to keep him from messing with him. He's got some evidence of some sort he's hidden away, and if anything happens to him, it comes out or something.
I
So that's
think
a
it
good.
has a little something to do with a certain element, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe
You know,
he's from element 115 somewhere or something. Who knows what happened?
that's the rumor. That's the rumor.
Yeah,
Like
that's
they
what I'm
has a little
thinking.
bit. They took a little bit of that element, and the government is afraid to like mess with him a little bit more. I don't think they're gonna Epstein him. You know what I mean? I don't think
Oh,
that's gonna happen. No, anytime
at this
soon. But
point, the funny
yeah,
thing about the UFO thing and stuff like that, when you come out with your story, whether it's government related or civilian related or abduction related or any of the categories, it doesn't even matter what a UFO category it is, crop circle, whatever, it don't matter. When you come out in public about it, the only people that believe it are the UFO community, and everybody else thinks you're nuts. So that's why they don't care about the UFO stories. The other people, like those other stories you were talking about, that's non-UFO related, that's high up there, and they'll go after and get rid of those people. But with the UFOs, they're not really worried about because they don't think anybody's going to believe you anyways. So
yeah. Man.
that's that
I,
stigma
even
about.
But even that said, I do think that narrative overall is changing, because the more and more
Yeah,
I speak to people on a general basis, the more they come out and say, "Yeah, we believe." In fact, I've worked, and Jeff, this is crazy. I've worked in places like dealerships, in my regular job in the past, and
yeah,
one place in particular I'll never forget. When I started there, I was the internet manager. Great position. I was there bringing in
yeah,
the clients, making the dealer all this money, right? And I remember the store owner walks in one day to my office. This is like my third day in there, and he
yeah,
goes and he closes the door very mysteriously. And my brother, my half brother, was the one of the managers of the place. Also, we worked together
yeah,
with the owner, and the owner comes in and he sits down in my in front of my desk, and he tells me, "I want to ask you a question." And I'm like, oh boy, I'm gonna get fired. I know what I do now. And he
yeah,
goes, I heard from your brother that you do podcasting and you are interested in UFOs. And I'm like, oh Jesus, oh, okay. Uh, what do you want me to sign? Am I gonna get terminated? Are you gonna laugh? And he goes, listen, I had an experience, and I sat there and I'm like, wait a second, this is going completely opposite that I thought here.
yeah,
And he opened up, Jeff. And this is it blew my mind of two experiences that he had. One as a child, where he saw beings, saw a craft, and it happened in his bedroom, where they took him. He doesn't remember much else, but he knows that he saw several crafts after that, and every time
yeah,
he had missing memory. And the last time he was in his mid 30s, he's a little older at this point. He's like early 50s at this time when me and him had this conversation. And he tells me in his mid 30s around this, the last time he remembers seeing a craft. And the last thing he remembered ever being, mentioned to him, and he said they never spoke to him, physically. So, like, information he just received, it was that you won't be seeing this around for a long time, but we're
yeah,
always keeping an eye. And
Well, yeah.
he said they're always, not negative in a sense. They weren't like hostile or brutal or anything that he could remember, but he has very vague little memories. But
Yeah.
that blew my mind that this is a guy very wealthy in the car business. Sat down and like I thought maybe he was pulling my chain or and maybe he's just messing with me, but he was dead on serious. I mean,
Yeah.
his demeanor was very
Yeah.
serious. He wasn't playing around. And I
Yeah.
know, and you got to know him a little bit over, the course of several months and the time I was there. And he wasn't like a goofy guy, not a
Yeah.
jokester, not. He was a very serious owner. So I take those stories into account, and that's very important to me because I could, coordinate and put and connect dots, including another one that I had in the car business, which this is going to really blow your mind, Jeff.
Yeah.
This is a gentleman that I worked with in 2006. Okay.
Okay.
And we had spoken about a lot of things one night, after, working on the floor in the car business. You unwind, you go back to the client and employee area, and you just, you unwind before you leave home. And we got to like chopping it up about the different things about clients. And then the topic just came up because he was a military guy in the 70s. And he goes, "Hey, you're interested in that UFO stuff, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Let me tell you a story about my military time." And he starts telling me about a crash retrieval that he was a part of when he was much younger here in Florida,
Yeah.
near a Florida military base that we have down here, that's near a prison. And he
Yeah.
tells me the whole story, how he was there and how they took bodies and they saw a bunch of different things, grays, like he mentioned it. Again, a very serious old gentleman. And I bottled all that up, and I just, I never, really talked much about it out of respect, even on the show. Now, fast forward, I went to the MUFON Symposium in 2016, and that was out in Orlando. And I'm talking to Stanton Freeman and a couple other guys, which I have pictures of on my website. It was a
Yeah.
great, great event. And I'm talking to them about, different things that I bring up the topic. I never mentioned this guy's name. Okay. I just mentioned the event. As I'm talking about him, one of the gentlemen who was just listening in, an older guy, maybe in his 70s, 80s, or something like that, who was
Yeah.
at the symposium, goes, "I know exactly the event. I was there. I was military." And he tells me the exact date, which I hadn't mentioned yet. And he goes, "You're talking about so and so." And because I described them, but I had not mentioned them by name, he tells me
Uh,
the first and last name of the exact person I'm mentioning. He goes,
oh.
"Yeah, that's my
uh,
buddy Louis." And he starts talking about him, and he goes, "Man, I haven't seen that man in decades." But no, if that's the guy you're talking about, I know exactly who that is. Me
Yeah.
and this is with the Skywatchers Radio crew. We were there. We were like, "What the heck just happened?" Because he gave me the exact first and last name of the person.
Yeah.
Decade later, not connected. Okay, these are not two guys that got on cahoots and started saying, "Oh, we're gonna the hoax angel and put a story over him." No, no, these guys had no connection at this point for decades, and he just remembered the names. Like, "Yeah, that's my buddy from a military time," and man, he wasn't kidding. This and this really happened. He just went on and on about it. Me and my buddies were like,
Yeah.
"Holy wow!" We were amazed. And Stan Friedman was there, which was the craziest part.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I met Stanton. He's cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he passed away a while ago, but
Yeah.
unfortunately, he was cool. Ran into him a few times at these conferences, actually, 3 or 4 times.
He
So
was a very fun person to speak to on air. One thing I always say about him, and I always gave him a lot of respect for being the one person who brought out Jesse Marcel and really brought that story out of Roswell, which
yeah.
still is one of the most important stories in ufology, I think. Which it's funny because like we were talking about Bob Lazar earlier, where Stan had an issue with his story. He had no issues with the Jesse Marcel story. He was full
Oh
on
yeah.
board
There's
now.
a lot of stories. Yeah. There's a lot of stories he has no issue with. But Betty and Barney
Yeah.
Hill. not the Allagash, but the what was it, the Pensacola the incident, so
Yeah.
several of them he goes along with. So it was weird and odd that he didn't go along with the Lazar one, and it was just backed up by, like a lot of legitimate, respectable, ufologists and researchers like Bill Moore and all these other guys or whatever. So yeah, weird to me.
Yeah, even when I met him in person, I was, and this was 2016 when I met him, I was like, Stanton, you still don't believe in Bob Lazar? And he's like, oh, this again with you and Bob Lazar. And, we had a good laugh because, he was a very fun guy to, like, even just, chop it up with off the air. Just funny.
Right.
But, he called me and he's like, yo, is this Bob Lazar thing? And, we had a laugh at it. And, by the way, the Betty and Barney Hill story is, to me, after Roswell, one of the most important stories in ufology. I got to meet also Kathleen Martin, the lovely niece of Betty and Barney Hill.
Yeah, even the movie.
Yeah. I mean, that was actually, fun enough, Jeff, that bring that up. The first podcast dealing with ufology that I ever did was talking about that story, the Betty and Barney Hill story. This is back in 2008 or 9, which was podcasting.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most fascinating tales because of everything that happened after that. I mean, it's just, if people don't know that story, research it. You watch documentaries, videos. Kathleen Martin is a lovely lady, and my hats off for like continuing to like bring her, this story out there to the public all these years later. Because it's important. We are, like I said on the show earlier, I don't know if you were listening, but our, medium here, with us, we are the future journalists of the world. We the people, the mainstream media, the mass media, corporate media, they're lying to us about everything.
Yeah,
It's all
fake
big
news.
corporate lies. Fake news. Yeah, fake news. They're all a bunch of like liars, and we can see it now. The veil's dropping, like my good buddy Art used to say. The veil is dropping. Remember that?
Yeah. The only real media out there is talk radio now.
Yeah,
like Glenn Beck and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let's get a little bit into the whole political thing because I know that being in your neck of the woods out there, it's a hotbed for the political stuff that the climate right now that we're in. And I said earlier, I think there might be a false flag alien thing going on. It's all interconnected. These are scary times politically, Jeff. And what's the feeling out there?
Well, there's a lot of bad things going on here in Arizona. The Supreme Court let all these illegal people vote now. They said that they can't stop like 192,000, or no, I think it was like 95,000 ballots or something. So that's not good. That's not that they can't. That they said that they can't verify citizenship, but they're going to let them vote anyways. So that's a cutting. That could be good or bad. We don't know. Well, it's bad because you can't verify citizenship, but that doesn't mean that those 94,000 votes that they're not citizens or not. It means that they don't have any idea. So now they're just going to let everybody vote that's in that category of that non-known voter card. So that's can't be good.
No, no. How can you break the law and come into this country illegally, and they just be given money and handouts and voter possibilities? Look, where I live, there's a lot of illegals in this area, and a lot of them not haven't been here for long.
What happened was the Congress was slow to act before these people decided to let these people come in and then automatically give them driver's license, which ties them in, being able to vote, and it ties them into other things in which they shouldn't be having driver's license. They shouldn't be being able to vote. So that's two things. You have to be a citizen to do those things. So they're just rushing the people into getting the license because they know as soon as they get that, they'll be able to be on the voter rolls. So that Congress should have saw this coming and put in some laws to prevent all these states from being able to do this kind of thing. But now that they've been doing it for so long, they've been designated as sanctuary cities now. So there's even a name for it now over these years, and it's just wrong. It's so wrong, man.
But I don't think they just were, you know, caught off guard. I think a lot of this obviously is prepared by the liberals, and it's a way for them to keep power.
That's what I'm saying. It's the end of the two-party system. If they let this continue like this, it'll be over with. It'll be the end of the republic. It'll be the end of our republic. Exactly. We're about ready to say the exact same thing. So,
I remember watching Star Wars when I was a kid. Not the old trilogy, the prequels in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that young, but I was a little younger than I am now. And I remember when the fall of the republic happens, and I always said, that can't really happen. And now we're looking at it, and we're like, wait a second, was George Lucas kind of like foreseeing the future? Because think about that. The movie deals with the rise of Anakin Skywalker, the whole story, but the political aspect is the fall of the Galactic Republic, the good guys, by the evil empire, the leftists, right? And who gives them the power? The idiot Jar Jar Binks, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound like Joe Biden?
Yeah.
He's the Jar Jar Binks of the story.
It was the classic fall of Rome story, as well as in modern times, like Venezuela. They fell to these left-wing lunatics that totally socialized their country and changed the republic into basically a dictatorship and a full-blown socialist communist regime and nation now. So they were one of the richest nations in the world, and it fell just over the last 8 years because of policies by socialists that basically destroyed their whole country. So
that's why I love Jeff. You're a patriot, man.
Yeah, it's a very thin line. Democracy. We got to vote these right people in and get the criminals out for sure. And don't let these media people lie to you, because all these people are fooled by this fake news people. They come straight on TV and straight up lie to you. These ABC, NBC, and CBS and CNN. You should turn those networks off completely. It's full of shit. Full of BS. All of those networks.
Yeah, just think about the name there, CBS.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they're telling you.
That tells it all right there.
Yeah, ABC. Oh, all BS. NBC, nothing but BS. NBC, nothing but bull crap.
There was an actual story in the 60s that confirmed that the CIA planted spies inside of the news organizations, and they became journalists, fake journalists, actually working for the CIA, and actually did news stories, on-air interviews, and on camera, like they were just regular reporters, but they actually worked for the CIA, and they were there to push a narrative and make a left-wing, deep state narrative to fool people into voting for these people that want you to believe that they're for the people when they're completely not for the people.
Yeah, no, I truly believe that's actually a fact. And for my friends on the left, and I have, like I said, Democrat friends, I have Republican friends, but in particular for my friends on the left who believe in ufology and believe the UFOs are real, and they still believe that they're going to tell you and they're going to disclose the facts of what's going on, because they're liberals and they want to know about aliens. But if they did, they've had over 20 plus years, 30 years to tell you, and Bill Clinton didn't tell you. Obama didn't tell you. Nobody is telling you. The one guy who created a Space Force and kind of started talking about it was Trump, and look what it did to him. Do you really think that voting for Kamala Harris is going to be the way for disclosure? Because I've actually, I've had this conversation, Jeff, with people that are voting, left. They're like, that's our only chance to get disclosure. And I'm like, no, are you simple like that? Really? They've been keeping that covered. Do you think that they really want to tell you?
She's a deep state puppet, and she's going to be a puppet for their agenda for sure. A deep state operative that that's being controlled by the State Department.
100%. Jeff, we have short time. Do you have anything coming up now? Any like events that you want to promote? What do you got for us?
Yeah, well, recently I had a new video footage from like a month or so ago on my YouTube channel, and basically what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get subscribers and people on my website, ufosoverphoenix.com, and I'm looking for people to click on that and then click to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my channel, as well as if you're on my web, when you go to my website, ufosoverphoenix.com. Like I said, this is like a 25-year-old, organization, online organization, and started about 10 years before it was even online. So I'm looking for supporters. I'm looking for people that want to help help my efforts and help my, my whole skywatching efforts. And please donate on PayPal on ufosoverphoenix.com, and all my links are on my YouTube channel descriptions, and just help, subscribe to the channel if you can, give $5 or, a month if you can, or just make a one-time $5 donation if you can. And it would help it go a long way, because like you said, I've been doing this for so long, and all Skywatchers, all their money goes towards getting new video and new equipment. And so what's going on right now is most recently, like 3.5 years ago, I dropped a DVD called Sky Gods, which I was selling for a while. And so now, coming up in the next month or something, I'm going to upload the entire movie to my YouTube channel so people can watch it for free. And that's what I usually do when I drop a DVD. Every like maybe 2 or 3 years, I'll drop a DVD, which is a 90-minute DVD of all the footage that I've shot over the last couple of years that hadn't been, put together in a documentary or anything. And it also includes other Skywatchers footage that I'm close friends with, that I know, that send me stuff. So I got probably like 6 or 7 full-length 90-minute movies, or even, some of them are a little longer, but they're all on my YouTube channel. So like every couple of years, I'll drop one. What I'll do is I'll come out with it on DVD and try to sell it on the website for a while. And then after, I figure, enough people, are going to buy it, because it seems like you release something and only a few people buy it, and then it's sitting there and no one else buys it, and you put it on eBay and maybe a few more people buy it on eBay and other platforms. But when it comes straight up to people going onto your website and then buying it through your PayPal link and all that, it only happens like the first couple months the DVD comes out, just a few people. Right. It's not a lot, because I guess my traffic there's so many factors online with traffic and views and all that stuff. So that's why I'm constantly fighting and constantly coming on these shows and saying, getting my story and getting my information out there, because if it's not out there, people won't ever know, or they'll forget to click on or see what I've been doing lately or whatever. So that's, so right now I'm working on a new DVD, and I'm just trying to get the funds together to go out there and do the Skywatch and do the roll, the film rolls and all that stuff like that. So we're just like hanging in there, man. Just asking for people's help to help out as we're plugging away, getting more footage and putting together new documentaries to release. So within the next month, I'll probably drop that latest DVD on my YouTube channel, and people can check it out. And, they're not like professional documentaries or nothing. They're mainly footage. I mean, like I said, as a Skywatcher, we shoot what's out there and we put it all together with other Skywatchers and footage. So when you watch these things, these movies I got, it's mainly footage. If you're there to see what UFOs are and see what it's all about, it's the footage, man. It's just all about the footage. So there's like, a lot of people might get bored watching 90 minutes just straight up UFO video, but hey, man, the people that love it, the people who are hearing and got bit by the UFO bug, they watch that stuff over and over. I mean, back in the 90s, I'd watch the Lee Elders from Masters of the Stars over and over again. I'd watch Stanton Freeman, UFO Flying Saucers Are Real, part 2 over and over again. And for years and years, popping in the VCR. Oh, I haven't watched that in a couple months. Throw that one in again. We can't get enough of it. So if you're into this stuff, you'll love it. You'll love all my channels, videos, and all stuff, on my channel. And like I said, there's a direct link through UFOsoverphoenix.com. You'll see, click here for my YouTube channel, click it and subscribe, donate if you can. There's also buy me a coffee. Some people like that, or whatever, for a one-time donation or whatever. But I'm just asking for your help, and watch my videos and help out if you can. That's it, pretty much.
Beautiful. Like I said, you're a true patriot, man. I've known you for a long time, and I love catching up with you. And we have to have you on more often, not a decade later.
Yeah, and a matter of fact, I mean, my website is a network, and I'll just drop the few of the websites. It's UFOsoverphoenix.com, UFOsoverphoenix.net, UFOfootage.net, UFOfinderslive.com, UFOfinderslive.net, UAPfinderslive.com, I believe that's .net, and then also UAPvideo.net or .com. I'm sorry, UAPvideo.net. I got so many websites I can't even remember whether
it's confusing.
It's crazy, I got like a whole network of sites. I mean, so like the UFO Hunter Phoenix is the main site, and then all the other sites are just new outlets of trying to network and get this stuff spread out as far as I can,
Yep. Yeah, Jeff Willis, and I always call him Wills because I did that the first couple times I had him on, and it's tradition now, so we always call him Jeff Willis. But it's really Willis, and man, you're looking fantastic, like I said. Stay healthy, my friend. Go ahead.
Just my channel, if you hit the description, all those links are right there that I just mentioned, so you can see them all right there. My channel in the description when you get to and it's Jeff Willis, UFOs Over Phoenix. Jeff Willis at UFOs Over Phoenix. That's my YouTube channel. So JEFFWILLES. That's it right there. Yeah, like you
that's
said.
what I was gonna tell you. Spell it out exactly, because people are gonna be like, "Oh, what you talking about, Willis?"
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. I understand my own confusion sometimes, but let's make sure we get the right spelling for the folks out there who are researching it, and they might be listening now, but they're gonna watch later. We're gonna have your links on our page. Jeff, it's always a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend, and we're gonna definitely bring you back on soon. We're gonna put your links up there everywhere.
Yeah, come on as much as you can. Anytime you want, just give me a message. Say, hey, we're ready to have you on. I'll come on and I'll tell my story. I didn't really I told my basic kind of, crafted story, but I didn't tell like my full UFO story of how I got into it and growing up and all my instances. But we save that for another day, and it'll keep going.
Yeah. We'll keep going, and we have hopefully a lot of time, you and I, to continue to chop it up here on the show and bring on more of the facts of what's been going on, man. And like I said, we're right now only a month and a few days away from the big election, and a lot of things are happening. And I think everything is interconnected, and you and I are going to have a lot to talk about in the next few months before the next year.
And to say one thing about the election is to please get out of your house and stop the spread of communism. Please, people, do it. As soon as do your mail-in ballot or show up at the polls. If you can do a mail-in, do it. If you can't, go to the polls. But this time we have to get out and stop the spread of this stuff. This is getting crazy.
Yeah. Remember, Jeff, I'm a Latino born in Cuba. I seen this firsthand with my family. I know the dangers that we're, engaged in right now. This is dangerous water, and I don't want this for this country. What happened to my country and what happened to Venezuela, Germany, Russia, and too many other countries where they experienced this. The youth think this, the youth of America thinks this is a joke, that the left is going to be A-OK because they hear like fraudulent people like AOC and all these nincompoops are washing their brains, and they think, well, if it's good for them, it's good for us. Hey, careful what you wish for. Like my buddy out of sight used to rap about. Careful what you wish for, because you might get it, and
these
the
people
grass
are
ain't
all
always pretty on the other side,
Those people are all about taking away your rights, man. If you look into what they're all about, you'll see that clear as a bell, man. That's all you need to know. Vote these people out, man. These people in Congress and the House and the Senate, vote these people out, please. We need,
That's
if we
it.
can get what we want in as the president, he needs a House and a Senate he can work with. So please, it has to be done.
We gotta make sure he doesn't get another nasty Pelosi in there.
Oh
my
yeah, we need to get rid of that forever. That's no good.
That's the Wicked Witch of San Francisco, nasty Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Jeff, we got to go off here, my friend. Stay healthy, stay wise, stay on top of things. We're gonna have you back on. Love you, my friend. You're a patriot. Stay, the way you are. Stay the same, and we're gonna be chopping it up as more and more closer we get to D-Day.
Thanks for having me on the show. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Till then, my friend.
Motorboat? You play the motorboat?